Okay, good morning, my friends. How are you today? My name is Praise for It's such an awesome privilege for me to be back again as we hit episode 20 of PFthinks. Wow, our time flies already 20 days. We're still going to 365 days. Wow. I'm so grateful because you always join me here and I never take it for granted. Now, we started talking about superior relationship skills and rules of engagement, tactical survival skills in a third world economy. And so far, we've looked at your relationship with your upline, your relationship with your downline, your relationship with your peer line, and we've looked at a relationship with a customer. So, upline, downline, peer line, and real line. Today, we look at your relationship with the outline, which is your relationship with the competitors. Now, before I get on that, I just quickly want to sound out a note of warning because if Africa continues with this space of conspiracy and rumor, we'll just realize that the whole world will leave us behind, and a time will come that we will not get any form of help. Now, one of the greatest crises I found out this period is the conspiracy theory that goes around about Bill Gates and what people have to say. Now, so I have seen people who have not saved their own personal economy suddenly think that they have an opinion about what Bill Gates is trying to do. People who have never, ever saved a life with a penny, they think they have an opinion. Now, these are people who have children, whose children have taken vaccines sponsored by Bill Gates, right? That could have killed their children, who don't understand that there's a whole lot that goes on around, and life is about agenda. People talk about Bill Gates having an agenda. I mean, and I wonder which of you will give $1 billion to any cause and not have an agenda. I don't understand it, right? And they say he wants to kill people. And I mean, when people talk like this, these are human beings who have been to school. These are educated people. It beats my imagination because he wants to kill, depopulate the earth, right? And yet he stopped, polio in Nigeria. I mean, all he needed to do to kill people is to withdraw his funding. I mean, if Bill Gates wants to kill 5 million people in Africa today, very, very simple. He should stop if once he stops funding healthcare at a certain level, 5 million people will die in less than 3 months. It's very, very doable, very easy. When he came to Nigeria and was talking, and Dangote himself said, he didn't know that our health crisis was that much until Bill Gates opened his eyes to the health crisis. Now, that's Dangote who makes money off you, right? So it took Bill Gates to open Dangote's eyes to the health crisis in northern Nigeria. Isn't it laughable? Right? And that's the man everybody's, you know, I, I am just in shock. And for the first time, I am seeing the crisis in our educational system and the crisis in thinking that our people lack the capacity to think, right? I mean, it's almost like talking about Jesus. Jesus came on the scene and he started solving problems. If you realize that the people that were most hit by Jesus's solution were the religious leaders, right? They were the ones who organized to kill him because they were the ones most threatened because this guy was producing results at a faster pace than the high priest, and they became threatened. So he was doing what they couldn't do, so they had to kill him. So it is very, very easy. So what you need to ask when you see a conspiracy against someone who has, I mean, if Bill Gates were to be my father, trust me, I'll tell him to, I mean, maybe I've changed. I'll just tell him to stop funding, right? That give me the money. Let's buy. He can afford to buy several African countries. You don't understand. Don't you get it? He can afford to come to Lagos, for example, and buy up Banana Island, and buy up Eco Atlantic City, and buy up the whole of Mushin Olosha. He will offer money to all the landlords and buy the entire houses. You don't get it. He has enough money to do that, right? So he doesn't need vaccine to kill you if he wants to kill you, right? Why will he go the route of vaccine and and do many? I mean, this is just sheer lack of common sense that human beings are losing the capacity to think, right? So the question you need to ask is, who exactly is threatened by Bill Gates? Bill Gates is solving the problem using money in a way we've never seen it before. He's using money to solve a problem that we were told money cannot solve by the people who have money in Nigeria. A problem that we were told, certain funny behavior is what can solve, rolling on the floor, and yet the problem has not been solved. So is a threat to many people who have positioned themselves as solution to your problems, because science is advancing at a pace that the world has never seen before. There were solutions that used to be at the level of religion that science is now solving. Things like IVF. Before now, if you don't have a child, you have to trust maybe a powerful person to pray for you, and IVF is solving that problem right now. So everyone who has built an empire on we can do something for you and you have babies is now threatened. Don't you get it? Don't you get it, guys? Right? So the people who have held people bound are suddenly threatened by what is happening around the globe. And I always say to people, you see, if Bill Gates is a threat to all of us, everyone shouting Bill Gates is a threat, pull your resources together, start funding what Bill Gates is funding so that I can answer. Very, very simple. If you have the money, put your money. Don't talk what you don't understand. Just put your funds together, all of you. You are large enough. Let's say you are 1 billion people who are against Bill Gates. So every one of you should contribute your money together, organize yourself, and start solving the problem his money is solving. This guy has researched into the future of waste disposal, researched into the future of toilet system in Africa, right? And he's already working on a toilet system that would not use water because he realized that there is no water in some parts of Africa. You don't get it? You don't get it? That is someone else's father. That's someone who made money outside of here, pouring so much money here. Let's even assume he has. I always say to people, for anyone to be the richest man in the world, God knows about it, because God does not trust fools with his resources, right? So if God has entrusted his resources into his hands, it's because God knows he can trust him to freely distribute that resources, which is what he's doing. There are some people who have money, all they are buying is cars. Bill Gates doesn't have a private jet. Don't you get it? He doesn't have a private jet. What it does is time sharing. He can afford to buy 20 jets, private jets today. He's not doing that. This guy doesn't own any estate, as it were. He can afford to buy up almost all the estates in Nigeria. Don't you get it? He has not done that, right? He's not spending money on shoes, spending money on cars, spending money on toys, spending money on houses, spending money on the lavish lifestyle that people who don't have as much as he has is spending money on. He's spending money on humanity. And people are saying all kinds of things. Excuse me. Can we begin to even think intelligent? The fact that you saw something online, somebody put it there, right, doesn't make it correct. You don't even need to go that far. Just think to say, hey, someone has sponsored polio vaccines in Nigeria, right? Someone has sponsored polio vaccine. Someone is trying to pour funding into solving. It would have solved malaria problem if not that our people looted the money. It would have solved it, because his behavior before now was to throw money and to trust the local content people. If you work in the developmental space where I work, you will understand what I'm talking about. But the local content people were stealing the money. They were looting it. Was when Bill Gates said, no, we will no longer throw funds at this thing. Let us begin to do research, which has proven to be more effective. Anyway, guys, don't join people because you are here because we love to think. You are not among the people who just believe in conspiracy theory. I don't care the pastor or the man of God who has said it. He's a man. He's fallible. I don't care what he's pushing, right? He's fallible. I respect every man. I respect every pastor, every religious leader. But when what you are propagating does not pass the test of common sense, no matter who you are, I am not going to fall for it, right? Maybe people who are following you believe, but I'm not going to fall for it because that's the way I was trained. So guys, let us troubleshoot everything. Let us fact find everything and let us hold on to the truth. Please don't join them in this conspiracy, in this, because people are being killed by conspiracy, right? Innocent people. That was conspiracy that killed Jesus. Go back to history. Conspiracy killed Jesus. They conspired against him. They lied against him. He said he's going to break down the temple. That was what killed Jesus. Conspiracy. And people bought it. They didn't realize I came to save them. They conspired. They beat him, spat on him, booed him. This was someone who was innocent to die for the sin, and he was killed. Exactly what is happening. right? Someone is funding solutions, medical intervention, and people are making noise. Let me shock you. Let Bill Gates go on strike for 1 year and pull away his funding from the health sector in Africa. You will see. You don't want to even know what will happen, please. So, guys, let us step it down. If many people are, propagating, I've had all kinds of ridiculous things. Someone said on my timeline today that, the vaccine will control people's mind. That once you use the vaccine, your mind will be controlled. Ridiculous stuff that illiterates should never say. How do we believe that, you take a vaccine and your mind will be controlled? They will not remove your mind from America. Oh my God. Education is overrated, really. Maybe I was... Oh, your mind is already being controlled. Your smartphone is controlling your mind. The fact that you went to open a bank account, you are already being controlled. You went for the BVN verification, you are being controlled. You went to register your SIM card, you are on Facebook, you are already been captured, right? You are on Twitter. Because you submitted your data by yourself. Some of you even paid, you bought SIM card, you've been captured. So it's ridiculous, guys. Let us get into the business of today. So today, it's almost laughable, right? Now, today we look at your relationship with the outline, which is a relationship with the customer. Please pardon me. It's just funny, right? Now, the thing about competitors, that's what we're dealing with today. Your competitors, right, are your compliments in reality. They are not your enemies, okay, guys? They are not your enemies. Competitors are your compliments, right? Competitors are there to prevent complacency. If you don't have a competitor, you'll be very complacent and you will begin to deliver shoddy products and services, right? Now, a lot of people don't know that why some companies innovate is because there's a competitor. So take Coca-Cola and Pepsi, take Samsung and iPhone, or Apple and Samsung. The only reason, even Techno, that all these companies innovate is because they're competitors. And I love competition because the customer is usually the beneficiary of competition, because everyone is going to drive down cost, drive down price. So you can see Zoom has a subscription that is free, but then they have another one that you pay for. I paid for the one I'm using, but now Instagram is creating their own solution that is Zoom related, that can take like 50 people. Facebook is going to create Mark Zuckerberg is another guy to watch out for. Whoa, these guys are competing with themselves, but we are the beneficiaries. But you see, I don't like to be the beneficiary. I love to compete at that level as well. So competitors are there to prevent complacency. Competitors hate your creativity and help you render better services, right? They aid your creativity and help you render better services. The mantra is innovate or die. If your business cannot innovate, you're going to die, right? Now, it's not about God forbid, right? It's about you need to do what you need to do. Africa, we talk so much. We believe in mysticism. When Bill Gates' wife Melinda said that if we are not careful and we don't do something, that there will be deaths on African soil. Femi Fani-Kayode came out and he began to quote Bible. This was someone who has been aviation minister, who did not do anything extraordinary. He became a pastor and he was saying we forbid. But we are already seeing what is happening in Kano. Community infection is showing us that you can't controvert data. Data is king. That it's so easy to predict the future when you are not emotional, right? So competitors bring out the best in you. So don't be afraid of competition. I welcome competition. I love it because it helps me innovate. It keeps me awake. It keeps me alive. It helps me render better service to my people. I'm always asking, how can we do it better? How can we do it faster? How can we do it cheaper? We have a solution that right now it works for family life, that if we run your analysis and run your assessment in 15 minutes, I can almost generate a report for you that tells me exactly what is wrong with your marriage. Everything you're going through is 96% accurate. But even now, we're working on making it to happen in 2 minutes, right? That's what competition does, right? So some of the competitors are also there to send you out of business, right? So we can't overlook that part. They are there to send you out of, some of them, right? But the question you must ask is, what on earth will make you become so good that your competitors will applaud you? What must you do that will make competitors to say, you know what, number one is not for us, number two is not for us, the first, that in the field, think about it, in the football field, when they say footballers should vote for world football, the best player in the world, that by themselves, they are also footballers. They won't vote for themselves. They will vote for Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. But all of them say we are footballers. So they go, they leave their family, and they say we are footballers. But why on earth will they vote for competitors? They are competitors. Cristiano Ronaldo played a game against Juventus and scored a fantastic goal. At the end of the game, the Juventus players and fans stood up to clap for him. What will make your competitors clap for you? Ronaldinho played a game against Real Madrid when he was in Barcelona. At the end of the game, Real Madrid players stood up. They started clapping for Ronaldinho for an exceptional performance. What kind of delivery will you put up as a service provider that will make competitors clap for you and surrender to you? You see, I love the way Moses killed competitors, right? Moses, right, had the rod. Competitions had the rod. They were magicians. The magicians dropped their rod. It produced serpents. Moses dropped his own rod. It produced serpents, right? Like for like, but the superiority of his like, a serpent began to swallow their own. That's how these things work, right? That if your product and service becomes the best that exists, that you become the benchmark. It was Simon Sinek who said that he had gone to train for, I think he has gone to train for two companies. It was Samsung, I think, was it Microsoft and Apple, or Samsung and Apple, I can't remember really, but he went to train for two companies who are competitors. I think it's Microsoft and Apple, right? That when he sat with the Microsoft executives, and all they were talking, no, I think it's not Microsoft. I think it's HP and Apple or something. I'll remember later, right? That when he sat with the Apple executives, right, all they were talking about is how we can innovate and make life better for the customer. But when he sat with their competitors, they spend all the time talking about Apple, right? Which is why Apple says we don't compete, we lead the way. Now, one of the things you need to understand in the future we're going is that your product and service must be so good, right? It must be so excellent that competitors are benchmarking you, that you must become the best that exists in the world, that everyone wants. Look at what Warren Buffett did. Warren Buffett could have competed with Bill Gates when it comes to giving, but Warren Buffett went to give his money to Bill Gates, and he said, I am giving you my money because I know you will know what to do with it. Amazing. These guys should be competing about who is going to be the richest, right? If you have seen the movie The Men Who Built America, you would realize that at some point competition was about who is the richest. But after a while, competition became, thank you, Paul. Okay, so it's Microsoft versus Apple, right? Thank you. Now, competition became who will give out the highest amount of funding. Amazing competition, right? So you need to understand that your competitors are your complement. They are there to prevent complacency. They are there to aid your creativity and help you render better services. They bring out the best in you, right? What on earth will make competitors applaud you? What must you do when it comes to competitors? Now, the only thing I tell people not to do is don't compete. Don't turn every time you sit in your boardroom or in your board meeting as a service provider and you are bothered about what competitors is doing, where you are now saying, what are they doing there? What are they doing there? Let us do our own. What you have already done is you have surrendered leadership, that your company's vision is now your competitors. In fact, your competitors is now your boss, right? Because every time their name shows up consistently in your board meeting, I'm not saying don't draw inspiration or don't check. What I'm saying is that every time you are trying to overcome, overpower, defeat them, then you have lost the plot. Life should be visionary, right? That you must have a clear vision of who you want to be and your company's vision, maybe someday I'm going to talk about that. Many Nigerian vision of many enterprises in Nigeria is faulty, because any vision that is not customer centric is a false vision. It's not going to stand the test of time. So check the average Nigerian corporation and their vision. They want to be the largest. They want to be the most impactful, the biggest, the number one. That's all they want to be. Their vision does not capture who they want to be to the customer, right? So you see a bank says, we want to be number one bank in Nigeria industry. So when they become number one, what happens? There's a bank who wanted to be number one. They became number one, but now diminishing returns have set in. Now they are an embarrassment to themselves. So you need to understand that your vision cannot be to be number one, to be the fastest, the most impactful, the biggest. Now, it is Nigerian company that set up vision. Even the way we name our business, you will know something is wrong with us. We put up a business and we put things like global, worldwide, right? It's already a show of inferiority complex. You don't see international companies put global, worldwide in the naming of their enterprise. And when you check their vision, it's about the customer, who they want to be to the customer. So for example, if you check Google says our vision is to organize the world's information and make it available for humanity at a click, right? And you can easily measure their vision. If you check Walmart says our vision is to make affordable for the poor what the rich can afford. Amazing vision, which means whatever the rich man can eat, if you come to Walmart as a poor man, you can also get it. Now, if you check the content of those vision, is about who they want to be to the customer, right? The value they want to have to humanity. It's not the largest, the biggest, the most impactful, the first among these are petty stuff. So when people say I am number one, I am the largest, I am the most impactful, where were you corroborated? Who gave you? Maybe among your mediocres, right? So you need to understand that when it has to do with a competitor, right, going into the future, you must not compete. I must say that again. The new competition is collaboration. The new competition is collaboration, which is why every time you travel around the globe, once you see McDonald's, you are going to see Kentucky Fried Chicken, you are going to see Pizza Hut somewhere close by. They are not competing. They are collaborating to serve the people, right? So you want to eat pizza, you know where to go. You want to eat McDonald's, you know where to go. You want to eat chicken, you know where to go. These guys are collaborating. Collaboration is a new competition. The market is large enough. Everyone can make their own, right? But in Africa, what we think about is if another man's own does not spoil, your own cannot be good. These are the adage that has killed and destroyed us, and that's why we kill ourselves. It's not as if these foreign companies don't kill competition. I know some of them buy up competition. Microsoft does that a lot. I know that Mark Zuckerberg does that a lot. Right? But even when they are buying, they've made their competitors richer. But what must you do as someone who has competition? Number one, set the standard or be the standard. Be the standard of excellence in your field. Be the go-to person, right? Every time I'm innovating solution, you need to come to my lab. I'm in my studio right now. It's soundproof. I've been up since 11 a.m. thereabout. Right, so I put in like 4 hours of work already today. Right now, if you see me innovate, it's almost like it's a love affair. Right, I'm in love with the customers. The way I innovate, I do my research in a way as if it's so delicate, as if destinies are tied to my hand. And I have gone against the people I love to liberate people. I have gone against the people, that, what they stand for contradicts what can set people free. Just to do it, I have waived fees, waived my prices, just to touch humanity. Don't you understand? I have crashed my prices just to make products affordable for the customer. Do you understand? I have done free classes, right? Like I do right now. I've done all these kind of things just for people to have access to what they need. So you must be the standard. Set the standard. Have you ever asked yourself, how can a man like Mark Zuckerberg create Facebook and he offers it for free? Yes, it makes money from adverts. But if you were the one that had the idea of Facebook, won't you place a price tag on it and say for you to join Facebook, at least pay subscription fee of $5 every month? Do you know how richer he could have been if he had done that? But who does that for free? And as at the time he took that decision, he was still a young man, right? Do you see the way these guys think? Right? Which is why God can entrust them with innovation that can solve the problem of the world. Many of our guys cannot innovate for the world. God can't even trust them with that level of innovation because their heart is not large enough to contain humanity. Their heart are strong. Their bowel of mercy is limited to their religious space, to their sect, to their culture, to their tribe, me and my family. That's why a man can steal their entire budget for the clinic in Aso Rock and not blink. That's why someone can be given the contract to construct road that can set people free and he will loot the money. He has lost his humanity. That's even worse than a demon, right? So when it comes to competitor, be the standard, set the pace, outdo. That's the third thing. Outdo. Do your best all the time. You see, your comparison is not with people outside of you. You are competing with yourself. It's about what we have done compared to what we could have done. Success is what you have done compared with what you could have done. So if you do something, you should ask yourself, can I make it better? That's how I innovate, right? They asked the richest man in India, Mukesh Ambani, why is it that your product does not have defects in the market? Mukesh Ambani said, he's a Buddhist. He said, whenever we produce anything, we lift it up to heaven and we ask, can God accept it from us? He said, if God cannot accept it, we will not offer it to the customer. Amazing. Imagine every time you produce any product, can you lift it up and say, God, if you cannot accept this, I will not give it to the customer. Can you lift your behavior to God and say, God, if you cannot accept it, I will not give it to the customer. You know, I was teaching in a bank many years ago when I was training banks, and I was sharing with them that some of them, the salary they are even earning, they are not worth it. If your boss has hired you for 8 hours, and you know that you spend extra hours eating, extra hours gisting, extra hours Facebooking, WhatsApping, right? You are stealing from your boss's time. Every time he pays you salary, I told them in the bank, I said, don't go and pay tithe because God will not accept it because he's stolen salary. Guess what happened that month? HR called me from that bank and they said, Praise, what have you done to our people? Because some of our people returned part of their salary telling us that they did not work for that amount. Now, what I say is that your conscience must be your human resource manager. There are things HR cannot capture, but people must understand that when you work for an organization, you work for God through your boss, because the company was first of all an idea in the mind of the owner. God is the giver of ideas, so God invariably owns the company. So with competition, outdo. Overperform is number 4. Overperform, right? Number 5, outstand. Be outstanding in all you offer the customer. Don't offer them a shoddy work. Don't offer them something that is less than excellence. Give it your best shot. Whatever it's going to cost you, give it your best. Outstand them. Let them open their mouth. There's a new product we are offering. This is a product that we have sold for 35,000 before. We have sold it for 35. It's a 1-year, sexuality education that covers ages 3 to 10 and 12 to 18. We have sold it for 35K before. I called my team and I said, this is COVID period. We're going to drop it to 10,000. But we're not just going to drop it to 10,000. We're going to add 5 other new resources to it at the same price, right? And they asked me, Praise, why are you doing this? I said, we must give something to the customer this period that will make them open their mouth, right? So I'm doing seminars right now. I can't remember the last time I did 5K seminars, right? But I am doing 5K seminars on critical issues that can help people this period, right? So you need to let your product or service get to the customer and let them open their mouth. One of my favorite restaurants in Nigeria is Gevenik. If you have ever eaten at Jevenick before and you have finished your food, then you are a big eater, right? If you have eaten at Jevenick and you finish the food all by yourself, we need to clap for you. Well done, sir. Because most people never finish their food at Jevenick. When the owner of Jevenick was interviewed to say, why is it that people never finish their food? And she said that when she was young, she realized that when they serve food in their house, they always serve it that she will have to go and beg for more. And oftentimes there is no more. So when she was going to start her restaurant, she made up her mind that she would rather have people not finish than for them to eat in a restaurant and still feel hungry. See the mentality. And that determines the way they serve food at Jevenick. So while some other restaurants are missing food, you even be begging them, Mama, not be 1,000 food I buy. Why is it this small? Say, don't you know that prices have gone up? Jevenick is thinking of how to ensure that you can't finish the food, that you will now take it home. Every time I've gone to Jevenick, they've given me a takeaway pack because I have to take it home. That is the mentality. So when they serve you your eba or your apple or your pounded yam at Jevenick, you almost knew that you were not going to finish it. That's the mentality. Create solutions that when your customers get it, they will know it's a kill. They know it's more expensive than what you have offered. Astound them that they are clapping for you. And the last thing there is draw applause from the customer. Draw applause from the customer. Now, let me shock you. Once you become the standard, you set the pace, you outdo, you overperform, you outstand and draw applause, you will not need to compete because you become a monopoly. Because you are operating in a class of yourself by yourself. God is a monopolist. Nobody can benchmark him, right? Bill Gates is almost a monopolist. You can't benchmark him, right? Mark Zuckerberg, those guys, you can't benchmark them at all because they are operating at a realm that is higher than human imagination. People like Elon Musk, those guys are at a level that you can't even comprehend. That's the level you need to be. You need to be a monopolist, but not because you want to corner the entire market. You need to set the standard, be the standard, set the pace, outdo, overperform, outstand and draw applause. Once you do that, you will not need to compete, right? Now, who are your current competitors? Right? Do you know them? Can you write them on a sheet of paper? Why are they your competitors? Why do you think they are your competitors? It's amazing when people look at me and they say, Praise, why do you share your trade secrets to the people who are your colleagues in your industry? I just laugh. And I said to them, I don't have any trade secrets. What I have was given to me by God, and I've learned that increased response to use. If you are someone who hoards, right, you cannot have more, right? But if your hand is open in the direction of humanity, not minding, people have stolen my slide and used it to write books before. People have taken my product and written books on it. In fact, someone used my material to write a book and brought the book to me to forward. Imagine, right? But guess what? My team said, Praise, no. Yeah, I said, let me forward it for the person. And I did, right? But guess what? I am not dead. I have created more. When I go for training and I give them my slide, people are only, why are you giving them? I said, see, I have never facilitated the same training the same way twice. No. If you come for any of my training 3 times or 5 times, you will meet a different me. Because increased response to use. The more you use it, the more you release it, the more God can pour through you. You are a vessel, you are a channel that God is interested in pumping solutions through. But if God realizes that you are a blockage, your pipe is blocked, right? That what is passing through you never gets to people, then it stops the flow because you are already over bloated, right? So it can no longer flow through you. But when it flows faster, more is poured into you, and that's why people will always open their mouth every time you open your mouth, and they wonder, how come you're an all-rounder? See, I have gotten jobs I have no business getting. I consult for organizations today. I have a session with a top company on Zoom, and what they're paying is amazing, right? During COVID, right? But I didn't even advertise that service. That if you are fond of delivering your best at every point in time, sectors that know nothing about you will begin to look for you, right? So be a channel that God can pass a solution through and is sure that it will get to humanity in a stressless manner, right? So who are your current competitors, right? What is your dream? What can you do that your competitors will never be able to duplicate, right? They may duplicate your product. Okay, they can't duplicate your heart, and they can't duplicate the source where your product and solution is coming from. Let me tell you, the secret is have a heart of love. Once your heart is in love for humanity and for God, trust me, innovation will flow through you. Your heart heart failure happens when people's heart becomes clogged. Have a love for people. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. For God must so love the world that he must give you to the world, right? God must so love the world that he must pass a solution through you to humanity. You must be God's agent of love to humanity. Once your heart is filled with love for humanity, you will innovate naturally. Innovation will come. You would realize that you will always be fresh. You will be like a tree planted by irrigation waters that bring forth its tree round the year. Now, how can you extend the current standard? So, what you need to do is, don't wait for competition to take you out. You disrupt your product. Tell people that work with me, no, I literally kill everything we are doing quarterly, and we innovate new things. I kill it because good is the enemy of best, right? If you dwell on the level you have dwelt on, right, you will miss the beat. You will not be able to reinvent yourself. People who have dwelled too long on the past, you can see they are struggling right now because they didn't innovate at the time they should innovate. There was someone who had started recording services far before his colleagues in Nigeria. They started blaming him. They started talking about him. But the guy now is a new norm where people are now recording services, right? To say you must go ahead of you must become an idea, that is ahead of its time. That people are playing catch up with you, right? That is the game. That is how it must be, right? But never forget the power of the secret place. The power of the secret place. Prayer is not a religious activity. Prayer is an intelligent activity. As a matter of fact, prayer is a science that makes possible on earth what only belongs to the realm of the supernatural. Miles Morales says it's earthly permission for heavenly interference. Once you understand prayer, your prayer will no longer be dominated by God, kill my enemy. God, kill. No. Your prayer will now be a phone call to God's heart to find out what is in his heart, that he wants to innovate on earth, that it can pass through you for humanity. That is what prayer can be. So when you get into your secret place, how can I do it better? How can I do it faster? How can it be cheaper? How can it make life easy for the people? If that is your question, trust me, you will be ahead of competition. Thank you everyone who has joined me today. Nike, thank you very much. I'm sure people wonder, does he pray at all? Trust me, I'm a man of prayer. It's just I don't play religious prayer. I can't remember the last time I said God killed my enemy. Maybe like 3 years ago or something like that. There is a lot more to pray about. There's a lot more God wants to do, that we should bother ourselves about that. You should ask yourself, how can a man be the richest man in the world and he has been in first three for over 20 years, right? What is he doing right? Those are the things we should begin to investigate so that we can replicate the result instead of falling for conspiracy. Please, guys, be a thinker this period. Don't fall for any of those things that people are just peddling that doesn't make sense. One, it doesn't make common sense. Read it, it's English. Once it doesn't make common sense to you, it doesn't add up. Please trash it and focus on more serious things. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tokpe. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Olaima. Thank you, Nike, my sister. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone. Ashimolo Umuiwa, thank you. Thank you, Prince Nenga Adeze. How are you? How is Uganda today? Ese, thank you very much. Pastor Sam, thank you so much. Kunle Adelu say thank you so much. Ese, Kunle Adu Paul, thank you. Kate Al-Hassan, thank you. Indamol Onyilola Yetunde. Thank you, everyone who has joined me and those who are going to see this. I'll come your way again tomorrow, and it will be day 21 on PFthinks. This will be available on YouTube in another 30 minutes thereabout. If you missed the past episode, it's available on my YouTube page. Subscribe, and you will always have it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Adura Yemi Jano, I can see you. Thank you. God bless you.